Are electric bikes really more dangerous than motorcycles? Stay tuned to find out why motorcycle YouTuber FortNine seems to think so, and if he's actually right. Welcome to Healthy E-Rider, your #1 guide to e-rider health and safety. I'm your host, Dr. Ram, and today we're going to be answering the question, are electric bikes actually more dangerous than motorcycle? Stay tuned until the end of the video, because I'm going to be revealing FortNine's actual agenda. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more educational videos like this. So, are e-bikes really more dangerous than motorcycles? Let's take a look at FortNine's 4 main claims about e-bike dangers. E-bike doesn't keep up with traffic. Poor gear, poor visibility, poor sophistication. So is there actually any evidence for these claims? Let's take a closer look. FortNine's first point, e-bikes don't keep up with traffic. Do e-bikes really need to keep up with traffic, and should they? Since many e-bikes are capable of higher speeds than most bicycles, but lower speeds than most motorcycles, in this context, they certainly fall into a gray area. So to address this gray area, let's talk about laws and practicality. How you ride your e-bike is of great relevance. Are you riding it like a motorcycle, or are you riding it like a bicycle? Legally, as far as most state laws go in the United States, Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes must observe the same laws and regulations as bicycles. Practically speaking, the only person who can answer how you're actually riding your e-bike is you. If you go by the laws and by sheer common sense as far as safety is concerned, you should not be trying to keep up with traffic, just as much as regular bicycles don't try to keep up with traffic. If you do try to keep up with traffic, then practically speaking, you are treating your e-bike like a motorcycle. Riding with traffic means that you're now at significantly greater risk of having a collision with a car. FortNine's second point, poor gear. He claims that wearing armor on an e-bike is impractical because you need to move around. Some kinds of armor can be very restrictive, especially if you're wearing riding pants that are too tight, and if you're doing a lot of pedaling or relying on pedaling to ride. I wear full motorcycle gear, including CE Level 2 chest, back, elbow, hip and knee armor, and overpants, as well as motorcycle gloves and boots. While pedaling is not as unrestricted as if I were to wear non-motorcycle pants, it's still tolerable if I want to pedal once in a while, and certainly does not impede movement required to turn my head, turn my throttle, or pump my brakes. I'm not sure what other movements e-bikers need to perform on their e-bikes while riding, but if you can think of some that I'm missing, drop them in the comments below. FortNine's third point, poor visibility. FortNine claims that due to selective attention, drivers are looking for other cars and not for motorcycles, e-bikers, or cyclists. Certainly the larger your vehicle and the more in contrast with the background, the easier it is for drivers to notice you. So while I can see how this phenomenon applies as you go from car to motorcycle, the step down in visibility from motorcycle to e-bike, at least when comparing models like the Super 73 and similarly built bikes, is much less pronounced. I'd be curious to see how visibility of motorcycles compares to visibility of certain e-bikes in actual case control studies. This brings us to a very important point, to which FortNine admits. The number of studies and amount of evidence backing any claim about motorcycle versus e-bike safety is virtually non-existent as far as I could find. While it is useful to look at studies about motorcycle accidents and e-bike safety, actual studies comparing the two don't exist. Until then, we can merely speculate. Again, FortNine concedes to this, and I do too. FortNine's fourth point, poor sophistication. FortNine points out that motorcycles have ABS brakes, traction control, DOT tires, taillights, headlights, high beams, fog lights, indicators, mirrors, weather warning instruments, and require a motorcycle license to operate, whereas many Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes don't have these features and don't require a license to operate. As we discussed earlier, it all depends on how you're using your e-bike. If you are riding with traffic, then having at least head and taillights and turn signals should be mandatory. If your e-bike falls under the Class 3 or electric moped classification of most states, then you will have to register and insure your bike, and in some states, you will have to pass a safety course and/or get your motorcycle license. FortNine also points out that most e-bikers have no prior experience of riding a bike at 30 plus miles an hour and don't know what it's like or how to handle their e-bike at those speeds. E-bikes no longer handle like regular bikes at those speeds. They do in fact handle more like motorcycles and should be treated as such. So in these cases, do I think a motorcycle safety course, license, training, and gear should be mandatory? Absolutely. Especially for operating your bike at these speeds on main roads and in traffic. So are e-bikes actually more dangerous than motorcycles? The answer is inherently no. E-bikes and motorcycles both lack protection from the sides. They're both inherently unstable because they're on two wheels. They can both reach relatively high speeds that place you at risk for high impact trauma that can result in similar injuries. Where they inherently differ is their weight, which is a significant factor in certain types of accidents that result in crash injuries. Crush injuries, where the bike lands on and exerts a large amount of force on various body parts, is a significant mechanism of injury resulting in life-threatening abdominal, thoracic, and hip injuries. In certain collisions, like head-on and rear-end accidents, a heavier bike can be protective in absorbing more impact compared to a lighter bike. So what about the obvious speed differences between e-bikes and motorcycles? Certainly a higher speed impact is more characteristic of motorcycles, but studies show that motorcycle accidents occur at speeds of less than 30 miles an hour. And yes, 30 miles per hour accidents still often do result in serious injury where cars, crush injuries, and riding unhelmeted are involved. Can e-bikes be more dangerous than motorcycles? Can motorcycles be more dangerous than e-bikes? Well, can driving be more dangerous than walking? Can walking be more dangerous than flying? There are certain inherent risks that are characteristic of any mode of transportation. The likelihood of any of those dangers manifesting largely depends on the operator. Sure, there are plenty of instances where other drivers or riders are responsible for collisions. In their cases, they are the operators. The environment in which you ride is also a significant factor in determining the kinds of risks you're likely to encounter. If you ride in a busy city with a lot of traffic, the likelihood of you having an accident with a car is greater than if you rode in a quiet, rural area with almost no cars on the road. The likelihood of you smashing into a tree is greater if you ride in the woods than if you ride in the city where you're more likely to smash into a parked car. If you become more aware of the inherent risks of your vehicle, the inherent risks of being an operator, experience, reaction time, effective reaction, etc., and the inherent risks of your environment, and you anticipate those risks moment to moment, you will be a relatively safer rider than your motorcycle and or e-biker counterparts who are riding absent-mindedly, distractedly, or recklessly. You can go and find videos of motorcycle riders doing stupid stuff and getting really hurt, play them back to back, and then conclude motorcycles are absolutely inherently dangerous and more dangerous than e-bikes, just as much as you can do the same with a bunch of e-bike videos. So why did FortNine do just that? He kind of shows his hand towards the end of the video where he comments, "You know the risk of your choice, so you can stop pestering us about ours." FortNine presents absolutely valid and insightful points about the inherent risks of e-bikes. It would serve us all well to heed those insights, become more aware of them as we ride, and protect ourselves as much as we possibly can against them. That includes treating your e-bike like an e-bike and not like a motorcycle. Don't try to keep up with traffic. Stay as far away as possible from cars, and when you can't stay away, let them pass safely until you can find a shoulder or bike lane. Take routes that are more e-bike friendly even if it means a slightly longer route. Wear at least full CE Level 1 motorcycle gear to protect your chest, back, elbows, knees, and hips, a full face helmet, and motorcycle gloves that are properly fitted and allow adequate movement for your riding style and safety. Wear as much high visibility gear as you can, and always assume that motor vehicle drivers do not see you. Make yourself even more visible by riding with your headlights on and waving at drivers who you assume do not see you. I highly recommend getting a bright taillight so cars and other riders can see very clearly that you're slowing down or coming to a stop, in addition to using appropriate hand signals. If you're going to be riding with traffic, get your e-bike registered and insured, which will require you to add mirrors, turning indicators, headlights, and brake lights. Check with your state laws for a complete list of requirements. And finally, treat your e-bike for what it is, an electric bicycle. If you want to treat it like a motorcycle, then observe and comply with motorcycle regulations and laws. Educate yourself as much as you can about the inherent risks of your e-bike, of operator error, and of the environments in which you ride by watching motorcycle safety channels like FortNine, Dan the Fireman, and of course, e-bike safety channels like Healthy E-Rider. For the record, I wasn't aware that there was a tug of war between e-bikes and motorcycles as far as who's more environmentally friendly and who's safer and all that, but as a YouTube behemoth, clearly FortNine is and feels like he's asking us e-bikers to back off with our eco-friendly and safety tirades. What do you think? Are e-bikers right or are motorcyclists right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode of Healthy E-Rider. I hope you enjoyed this video comparing motorcycle and e-bike safety. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below for more videos like this. Remember our mission as Healthy E-Riders. Live to ride another day. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.